Hey guys, what's going on? It's Austin Pettigrew with the Duck Under, and today we're going to talk some 184 NCAA Wrestling Championship weight class. And guys, this was my favorite weight class of the tournament, and pretty much the whole season. This was an exciting weight class. Most of you may think, how is it exciting? You know, people thought Miles Martin would run through this weight. How is it exciting? Well, it was pretty deep, as we saw. You know, you had a lot of deepness in this weight. So let's kind of get into some storylines. So speaking of Miles Martin, you know, big storyline was, can anyone beat Miles Martin, or is he just going to run through this whole tournament like many expected? And as we saw, someone did beat Miles Martin, who happened to be the brother of my favorite wrestler of all time, and his name was Max Dean. So, yeah, that was news, wasn't it? And okay, let's get serious though. So Max Dean beat Miles Martin. No one thought anyone could beat Miles Martin. He ran through everyone this year. You know, like it was nothing. And, you know, I'm sad to see, I'll be honest with you. Much as I love to see Max Dean win, I'm sad to see Miles Martin lose because I wanted to at least see him win one more championship. But, I mean, it happens. You know, wrestling's wrestling. But, hey, you know what? Hats off to Max Dean for that. Max Dean finally broke what I call his own ceiling right there, you know. His first year, as most of you know, I know I'm talking about Miles Martin, but I just want to say this about Max Dean first. But going from AFL All-American to the finals the next year, that's hell of impressive right there. And congratulations to Max Dean. But let's continue Miles Martin. So everyone thought Miles Martin would run through this weight class and no one would challenge him. You know, he thought it would be he didn't think that. Everyone thought that. And everyone thought this would be the weight class for Miles Martin. You know, no one could beat him. He pretty much beat everyone this year, handedly. But, you know, as it happens, upsets happen in wrestling, and in the semifinals match, you know, it just so happened that Max Dean beat Miles Martin. And, you know, it was on a last second move, but he beat him. He held him down, too. You know, it wasn't like, oh, he beat him with 3 seconds left. It was pretty close to that, but he held him down. He took him back to the mat. So, again, you know, Miles Martin, the question was, anyone can beat him? And he did. Next storyline, you know, very deep weight this year. This is a very deep weight. You know, people talk about 133. Well, you look at 184, it may not look name-wise deep weight, but if you look at it on paper, you're like, man, this is a deep weight. You have a lot of potential All-American mixes right here, no matter who they are. And, you know, for example, so let's just look at this real quick. I mean, you know, in the round of 16, which is second round for those you don't know, Nino Bonacorski beat Emery Parker. Nino Bonacorski didn't even All-American, but Emery Parker did. I'm like, okay. So, you know, it's a weight where anyone can beat anyone almost. And it's one of those things that are like, okay, this is going to be interesting. But, yeah, it's a deep weight this year. You know, next one, and this will kind of mix into another story, but how the hell did Shakur Rasheed get number 2 seed? And if I really would like to hear from people commenting below. If anyone can explain to me how Shakur Rasheed deserved the 2 seed, please send a comment below. I want to hear this because Shakur dodged everyone. Now, you know, people said, oh, Shakur's hurt. You know, that's why he's dodging everyone. I don't care if you're hurt or not. If you're able to wrestle and go out there, and I say this, and I'm an OSU fan, and Preston Weigel was hurt all year, and he ended up getting third in 197. But, you know, people were saying, oh, he's hurt, it's fine. Making excuses for him. But, you know, whenever it came down to this, you know, people were like, okay, Zavatsky's going to get number 2, you know. Who's going to get number 2? You know, that was a question. Could it be Zavatsky? Could it be Drew Foster? Could it be Max Dean? Could it be freaking Emery Parker? I mean, shoot, they didn't know who was going to get number 2, but then it showed up Shakur Rasheed, and people were like, that's messed up. And, you know, it's like, I don't agree with Shakur Rasheed getting number 2. And where we get into my favorite part, we're going to talk about my boy beating his butt and moving on. But So yeah, another storyline. How the hell did Shakur Rasheed get number 2? And speaking of number 2, is the 2 seed cursed in this weight? This is the favorite This is the favorite storyline all year for me at this weight. I mean, Okay, so let's talk about this. This is interesting. Every person that was number 2 got beat this year, and I'm not even kidding. Shakur got beat. Zavatsky got beat. I think at one point, Emery Parker was number 2. And don't be in the comments saying, "Oh, he wasn't number 2. You're just making that up." But yeah, I mean, everyone at that number 2 seed at least got beat. Everyone beat everyone at this weight. It was a really good weight this year. But I mean, yeah. So and as we figured out, apparently the 2 seed is cursed, especially at the tournament because FYI, Shakur Rasheed got beat out. So. Let's move on before I kind of get overexcited about this. So let's get into the championship match. So as we know, as I already discussed, Miles Martin got beat. He was not in the championship this year. So in the championship this year, representing the 184 weight class, happens to be one Drew Foster of UNI and one Maxwell Dean of Cornell. And guys, let me just say this. This was my favorite match of the night. These guys put everything on the line. This was the 5 and 6 seed in the finals. Not saying that's such a shocker. I mean, both these guys are good wrestlers, but they both put everything on the line. And Drew Foster came out the winner. This is, I believe, UNI's first champion since 2000. I could be a few years off, and please tell me if I am, but... yeah, this is UNI's first championship since the early 2000s. Drew Foster, an amazing story. Guy who never won a state championship, wins a national championship his senior year. That's amazing. That's truly inspiring. It shows that hard work does pay off and that your dreams can come true, even though, they didn't recruit him as a top D1 guy. And, I said, man, this guy's not top D1. He'll never accomplish anything. But he proved them wrong. So, congratulations to UNI for getting another champion. And I would like to personally thank Max Dean. I loved watching him wrestle this year. This guy was one of my favorite people to watch the wrestle this year, like his brother. Again, his brother, Gabe Dean's my favorite wrestler of all time. I love the way Gabe wrestled, but this isn't about Gabe. This is about Max. Max Dean proved he has everything to be a national champion. I believe 100% he will be a national champion next year. And so... Drew Foster and Max Dean, they had a great match. It really came down to the wire. Within the last 30 seconds, Drew Foster took him down and won the match. Gabe tried to escape, but it was unable to. And Drew Foster wins it for UNI. So happy for him. So happy to see that for Drew Foster. Would have loved to see Max win it, though. I love Max Dean. This kid has a bright future. Max Dean's a dude who's exciting to watch. He gives it everything he has, and he knows how to win. And he proved it by beating Miles Martin, for God's sake. So, Drew Foster had to beat Chip Ness, and we'll get to Chip Ness in a minute. That was a whole story by itself. And Max Dean had to beat Miles Martin. Max Dean had a dang hard path. He had to beat Nino Bonacorski. He had to beat Cash Wilkie. And, that's a deep weight right there. Those are 3 good guys who you could have possibly All-Americaned. And, Drew Foster was no psyched, He beat Chip Ness, who did up All-American, and Zach Savatsky, along with Louis Dupre, who people would All-American. And, the whole thing with Drew Foster, he beat Zach Savatsky every time they wrestled this year. I think he's like 3 or 4-0 against him, which that's just even funnier to think about because, Zach Savatsky got the 3 seed over him, but Drew Foster did had some worse losses. So, good job, committee, besides Shakur. But, yeah, so... in the championship, you have Drew Foster, number 1, winning the championship for UNI, and Max Dean, number 2, as runner-up for Cornell. Let's move on to 3rd and 4th. You have Miles Martin versus Ryan Parrish. And, okay, so let's get it straight. Miles Martin did not disappoint. People really thought he did. Should have won the finals, been in the finals and all that, but Miles Martin wrestled his heart out. It's not the way I'm sure he wanted to finish, but, hats off to Miles Martin. This dude gave it everything. As a true freshman, he won a national championship and beating the legendary, and I use that in air quotes because when we get to 197, you'll see my hatred for this man, Bo Nickel. And, but man, I'm so happy to see Miles Martin end his career on a win. That dude, 4-fall American, 4-time All-American, a national champion, a 5th place, a runner-up, and a 3rd place. To me, that's a pretty damn impressive record right there, people. And this is just a dude who's one of the most honest, true-hearted people in the world. He deserves the best because he is the best. And, hats off to him, finished career. And he had a good match against Ryan Parrish of Lehigh. And, Ryan Parrish ain't no one to mess with. That dude is a legit wrestler. He brought it to Miles Martin saying, hey, this dude's a national champion. Let me make for a name for myself, as I'm leaving Lehigh. And he brought it to Miles Martin. It was a 5-3 match. Miles Martin won, ending his career on a win. But good match between those two. Really good match. All these placing matches were really good for 184. So, you have 3rd Miles Martin and 4th Ryan Parrish. Great match. Good to see Miles Martin go out on a win. For 5th and 6th, you have Emery Parker versus Chip Ness. And Chip Ness was the Cinderella story of this tournament. So let's talk about Chip Ness before we get to the match. So, old Chip Ness defeated Shakur Rasheed 8-6. The hated Shakur Rasheed from Penn State, who did not deserve the number 2 seed, people said. And so you get Chip Ness beating Shakur Rasheed, and then people are like, okay, this is a one-time thing. He won't beat him again. He won't beat anyone else. Well, then he beats Sammy Colbray, and I love Sammy Colbray. But Chip Ness beats Sammy Colbray, and then he gets to the semifinals, and people are like, oh my God, Chip Ness might make the finals. And he didn't. It's a close match, though, 7-4, but Drew Foster beat him. And so Drew Foster beat Chip Ness 7-4. So let's get to that 5th place match now. I've done my ranking of Chip Ness. But so you have Emery Parker versus Chip Ness. Emery Parker, 4th seed, he got upset by Nino Bogdanovsky from Pittsburgh. And, for his blood round match, he had to face a very tough, and this is a tough match, Sammy Colbray, who I fought with All-American this year, but did not, obviously. He also had to face Cash Wilkie, which, again, tough match. But Emery Parker, he had to face Wiseman, too, of Missouri. That's a tough match. Man, I was telling you, people, this weight was stacked. People didn't know about it. But, he made his blood round. He won 5-2 against Sammy Colbray. Then he beat Zatsagatsky 7-4 to keep on advancing to higher placing. And then he ran the Miles Martin and lost 5-2. But, Emery Parker, good to see him go out on one, of Illinois. Let's just say, I'm guessing he was mad he had to go against Miles Martin again. And, he kicked Chip Ness's butt. He won 11-5 against Chip Ness. So the Cinderella story for Chip Ness was there. Maybe he could have got 5th. Maybe he could have got 3rd or 4th. But Emery Parker put an end to that, and so did Ryan Parrish. But, good job to these two guys. Emery Parker caps off his career not the way I'm sure he wanted. I'm sure Emery Parker could have been in finals very easily. But, it happens. You could honestly make an argument Emery Parker should have been the number 2 seed, or Zavatsky should have been the number 2 seed. For me, I felt like Emery Parker should have been the number 2 seed because I felt like with his overall work this year, it made sense because, Zavatsky, I can see the argument why not. Emery Parker, I could not see the argument as well. But I really thought Emery Parker deserved the number 2 seed, and he did not get it. But he caps off his career with a 4th seed, and Chip Ness of North Carolina caps off his career with a 6th place. So, good job to both guys. Emery Parker went out, got the 5th place, and kicked some butt. That's all I'm going to say. So let's get to this 7th place match, and this is one I'm excited about because, to me, Dakota Greer's the hero of this tournament for being out Shakur Rasheed, who didn't deserve the number 2 seed. At the number 26 seed, no less. So, for those of you who don't know the story of Dakota Greer, in and out of OSU's lineup this year because of Preston Weigel injury. He was bumped up to 197. Then he got bumped back down to 184. I don't think he wrestled at the OSU versus Iowa duel because I went to that. No, that's right. He didn't. Jacoby did. And that's when I thought, okay, maybe they're going to wrestle Chandler at 170 and then 174, and then they're going to wrestle at Joe at 165 or something crazy like that. But I was wrong. So, let's talk about Dakota Greer. So Dakota Greer wrestled Zach Savatsky, and he won 7th place against him. He won 5-4. So, let's look at Dakota Greer's path. He did have some upsets, like no joke. So Dakota Greer, in his first match, he beat, I believe, Nick Reenan. And yes, he did beat Nick Reenan. He beat him 6-0. Dominating win. Now, some of you may be like, oh, Nick Reenan was hurt. That's why he beat him. And that's a fair argument. I'm not going to lie. But impressive win, no less. Then he runs into Sammy Colbray and loses 7-4. So, he drops down. And, we see Mr. Greer have to go up against Matt Lenon. He beats him pretty easy, 12-2. Then he faces Shakur Rashid. Yeah. Beats him 4-2. So, Dakota Greer, you have my blessings. I'm just going to let you know that. Thank you, brother. And then he faces a tough Nino Bonakorski in the blood round. And he beats Nino 6-0. And so, then he faces Ryan Parrish, loses 5-3. But, in their 7th and 8th place match, he wrestles his heart out and beats Zach Savatsky 5-4. The same Zach Savatsky who was said to be, he's going to make the finals possibly. Finishes 8th place. So, a little bit disappointing by Zach Savatsky of Virginia Tech. And, Zach Savatsky, he had a tough road to get to his championship too, because, he had to face Taylor Venz. Taylor Venz is a tough cat. No joke. I would have been surprised if Savatsky got beat by Venz, but it's just how it was. And so, in this match, it was a good match. Both guys put it out on the line. Obviously not how Savatsky wished he would have finished, but good job to Dakota Greer being the 26th seed. I believe the lowest seed to place this year. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But, Dakota Greer won 5-4. And so, let's go over our All-Americans again. So, you have number 1, Drew Foster. Number 2, Max Dean. Number 3, Miles Martin. Number 4, Ryan Parrish. Number 5, Emery Parker. Number 6, Chip Ness. Number 7, Dakota Greer. And number 8, Zach Savatsky. So let's get into the most impressive at this weight. I have quite a few. Like I said, this is my favorite weight of the tournament. So I have Max Dean, obvious. Let's talk about him first. Max Dean wrestled his heart out. This dude came in, people thought, man, is he going to be as good as his brother? And that's why he even came into college, he's going to be as good as his brother. He has all that pressure from his brother, and he has a hell of a tournament and a hell of a path. He beats Cash Wilkie, he beats Neo Bonkorski, he beats Miles Martin, and then he loses Drew Foster, of course, but Max Dean's going to be a champion someday. I'm going to call it right now. He's going to be a champion someday. He had an impressive tournament. So next, Drew Foster. This is an obvious one. Won the tournament when it was the 6th seed. And to me, seeds really don't matter. But, a dude who never won a state championship wins a national championship after being told that, you're not D1 level. He proved everyone wrong that he's D1 level. He's done that his whole career. That dude's D1 material for sure. And I'm glad he won. I'd love to see Drew Foster win, He went out on a national championship win, and good job to Drew Foster. Dakota Greer, number 26 seed, finishes 7th. Out-wrestled your seed for sure. To me, I thought Greer was ranked lower than what he should be, but then, people can make the argument, he wrestled 197 for Weigel most of the year. And fair argument, but he was the most dangerous low seed, you could probably say. I say that. Yeah, he was probably the most dangerous lower seed. But yeah, Greer, he wrestled his heart out too. He beat Nick Reenan, he beat Shakur Rashid, he beat Nino Bonakorski, and he beat Zach Savatsky. That's pretty impressive, And towards the end of it, we'll get into why this is important. But Dakota Greer is going to make some damage next year, I believe. If he stays at that weight, he could move up to 197, which I think would be really stupid if he did, at this weight. And then finally, most impressive, this is just for giggles, but Chip Ness. And seriously though, Chip Ness was impressive. Beats the number 2 seed, and then he beats a tough Sammy Colbray, and then he wrestles his heart out against Drew Foster. But then he runs into Ryan Parrish, gets beat, and Emery Parker just lays it on him. But hey, good job to Chip Ness. Good job. That's all I can say. Impressive. Beat the number 2 seed, got to the semifinals, number 15 seed. Impressive in my book. So good job to Chip Ness. Disappointing. No, Miles Martin will not be on here. And some of you are like, he was so disappointing he won his championship. He still got 3rd, did he not? Is a 4-time All-American disappointing? No. So Zach Savatsky, number 3 seed. People thought he would be in the finals. Ran into Drew Foster for like the third or fourth time and got beat for the third or fourth time by him. And, he's disappointing. One, and some of you may be like, well, you're just saying that because he got beat by Dakota Greer and you're an OSU fan. Well, that may be true, but, overall, if you just look at his tournament, he didn't look good. At least I think. And he was disappointing for the fact that how low he finished. Not because he All-American, but for the fact that he finished low. And when he should have finished higher than what he was, you could say. Taylor Venz, I really thought he would All-American. He's kind of disappointing in a sense. But he'll be back next year. And I don't know if he's going to All-American next year. This fight's going to be interesting next year. I'm just going to say that much. And then, you have Nick Reenan. And really disappointing, I would say. I don't even think he made the blood round for sure. Let me double check that, though. And he did not make the blood round. He got beat by Taylor Venz in the second round of 16. So, to a disappointing tournament by him. Now, people did say he was battling injury. And I never like to use excuses, but if you watch Nick Reenan this tournament, he did not look himself, in all honesty. He may have been injured. I think they said it was ACL, MCL type deal. But again, Nick Reenan did look disappointing for NC State in this tournament. Then you have Shakur Rasheed, of course. We all know why. Got beat. He pretty much went 0-2. No, I'm wrong by that. He pretty much he won a match, so excuse me, he won 2 matches, so he went 2-2, but you are the number 2 seed, so shouldn't you be higher in All-American? Come on, Shakur. But again, Shakur Rasheed did not All-American whatsoever, didn't even come close in all honesty, so, very disappointing by the number 2 seed. And that's mainly because he is the number 2 seed. If he was lower, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But considering he was the number 2 seed, very disappointing. So close All-Americans this year. I'm going to honestly say all 4 of these guys could have All-American because it could have gone either way. So, Nino Bonacorski, he'll be back next year. I believe he will be an All-American next year. He wrestled 6-0 against Dakota Greer. And Nino is one of those dudes who upset a lot of people. As we know, he beat Emory Parker in the second round. He beat Max Dean this year, I believe. And, Nino's one of those guys that has always wrestled tough. And I think he honestly got the host city curse because he wrestles at Pittsburgh University. And the thing was in Pittsburgh. So, I think he was one of the hometown host city curse guys. Louis Dupre, I thought he could have All-American. Wrestled against Ryan Parrish pretty close. But it wasn't in the cards this year. Sammy Colbray really thought he would All-American but ran into Emory Parker. And then Taylor Venz, again, wrestled Zach Savatsky close in the blood round, but the cake was too short, you could say, at that point. It was already Aiden. So, I believed all 4 of those blood round guys could have All-American. If you look at any different configuration, I'm sure that you could have seen the completely different opposite. All 4 of these guys All-American, the other 4 don't. It's just one of those situations, where any given day. So let's talk about next year guys who I believe will All-American. I have 3. Sammy Colbray. Love watching Sammy Colbray wrestle. That dude is a fighter, and I believe he will All-American next year on his senior campaign, no less. So watch out for him next year. Nino Bonacorski. I love the way Nino wrestles. That dude is just a dog out there. He wrestles tough. He makes the city of Pittsburgh proud. And Nino's one of those dudes you just need to keep watching out for. Watch him to make some upsets next year. And I'm being serious about that. He could be a dude who upsets a lot of people next year. Cash Wilkie. So here's a guy who wasn't in the blood round, but the round before against Emory Parker. Cash Wilkie, watch out for him next year. This dude is going to be something exciting to watch, I would say. And so, yeah, watch out for Cash Wilkie. That dude's going to be an interesting cat next year. And I'm going to throw one more in there. I'm going to say Taylor Venz too, but again, he probably should have All-American this year, but he ran into Zach Savatsky. So, to end this video, it's going to be kind of different, before I run through all the All-Americans again. This weight's at a different situation than other weights are, where you have 133 who's only losing 1 All-American, I believe, Ethan Lezak. This weight's losing all of them but 2. The only 2 returning All-Americans are Max Dean and Dakota Greer. this weight's going to be pretty open next year, I would say. Now, you have the situation where could Zahid bump up? Who's going to bump down? All that stuff. Will Dakota Greer even stay at 184? I'd be stupid if he doesn't. But, yeah, this weight's going to be wide open this year, so you're going to see a lot of new All-American faces here. Like I said, I think Max Dean's going to win it next year. I really do believe that. And so, that's my own thoughts on this 184 weight class. Again, the national champion, you have Drew Foster, and you have runner-up Max Dean, then third, Miles Martin, fourth, Ryan Parrish, fifth, Emery Parker, sixth, Chip Ness, seventh, Dakota Greer, and eighth, Zach Skavatsky. Hey, guys, sorry for the long video. I just love talking about this weight class. It was my favorite to watch this NCAA season. And, hey, keep in tune, like, share, and comment below. And remember, guys, duck and cover.